Good afternoon, everybody. I know you cannot see Randall Cunningham's pretty face. It's because I got camera problems. So you'll have to do without seeing me. You're just going to hear me today. So tonight, we've got a couple of special guests. First one coming on is Jack Evitts from Sequatchie County. We'll get to Jack's in a minute. But let me introduce the cast. First of all, from beautiful Sylvania, Alabama, Howie Cheney. How you doing, Howie?
Doing good, Randy. How's it going?
Uh, outside of me not having video, it's going really good. And of course, below Howie, I don't know if we call you beautiful Fort Valley Head or Mentone. You're kind of halfway up the mountain, Phil, but I'm gonna go with Valley Head. From beautiful Valley Head, Alabama, Phil Harris. How you doing, Phil?
I'm doing well. I'm actually in the city limits of Valley Head, so I'm not far from Mentone, but I'm actually in the city limits, so we'll call it Valley Head.
All right, and from, of course, down here in the corner, from beautiful Dunlap, Tennessee, tight end. You going to play in this year? I heard some rumors that you had played a couple of different positions on defense.
Yeah,
Jack, is that true?
kind of playing everywhere on defense right now. A little bit of linebacker, a little bit of end, outside linebacker, long snapping, kind of just playing everywhere on defense, special teams.
Ladies and gentlemen, from Sequatchie County, Mr. Jack Evitts. Jack,
Glad to be
I'm
here.
going to ask you a couple of questions, and then I'll work on my camera some. Same way last week. Then I'll turn you over to Phil and Howie, of course. Jack, it's been 4 years now, and I felt like a lot of people felt like this program was built for this window for the next 2 years, last 2 years, and this year. Is there some frustration for you that it's your senior year and you feel like you have to accomplish more than you have, or you need to accomplish to a certain level? What are your vision for your senior year?
Right. So last year we came up short, 8-4, with a really talented team. It's not what we expected, and it's not what we worked and hoped for. But at the end of
Y'all
the day,
dealt
that's
with some
football, and
injuries too. You dealt
yeah,
with some
some injuries
injuries
and
last year.
some really tough, close losses. A 2-point loss in the region championship game that we were literally a fingertip away from winning. So that's tough. But this year, we returned a lot of guys. We got a good team. This is a group who's been used to winning and expects to win, and that's how we're trying to prepare in the weight room, on the field, in the film room, top to bottom, from the coaching staff to the scout team guys. That's what everybody expects, and that's what the goal is. And it's not necessarily tough that's the goal, and it's kind of what a lot of the guys thrive under, is that expectation. And I love the spotlight and the expectation that we do have, because that means you got a good team and a good program. So that's kind of what you want. But that goal is to play for a state championship, win a region championship, undefeated. Your goal is to win every game. So that's what we think we can do this year. We got a good team, and we've had we've gotten better in scrimmages. That's what the scrimmages have been for, and we've trying to have been getting healed up and healthy. We've had some guys out and banged up. So this Friday we got Lenore City to prepare us last dress rehearsal before Bledsoe County, and get as healthy as we can and go into Bledsoe and try to go 1-0.
I'll turn you over to Phil after. It's not really a question. I didn't mean to make it sound like you hadn't been successful. Y'all have had success. But I don't know that if you had won the Super Bowl, beat the 1990 San Francisco 49ers, beat the New York Giants with Eli Manning, I don't know that fan expectation. I don't even know if there was a way to live up to what the fan expectation was last year. Does that make sense?
Yeah, there was a lot of expectation. That's for sure. That's for sure.
There's a lot of expectation on the basketball court, but we're going to get to that in a minute. All right, Phil, you take it over. I'm going to log out, log back in, and try to get my camera working. Y'all,
Okay.
Phil
All right.
Harris.
Well, Jack, kind of sort of from the outside looking in, I know you talked about not having the greatest season that you wanted, but you got to look back too. very tough schedule. You guys don't have any what you call walk through that schedule and say, hey, this is an easy win. The schedule is difficult, and if the ball bounces one way or another, it's the difference between 10 wins and 6 wins.
Right. Yeah. That's absolutely right. Coach McIntyre, wants to prepare us for those games in November. There's not a state championship in August, but there's one in December, and that's the one we try to play for. So.
Well, you got to figure, the optimism is good, and I'm sure, and you feel like you got a lot of people returning. But how important is it for you guys to get off to a good start, because you kind of sort of need this team to come together?
Right. Yeah. So hopefully we open up with 4 or 5 really tough games before we get into region play, which is kind of what we're preparing for. But those teams, if we can get rolling and get some momentum with 3 or 4 big wins in a row, that means a lot to the team, especially carrying into region play. And those being in-valley games that kind of mean a lot to everybody, and we know the kids we're playing against. We played against them our whole lives. So winning those games means a lot, that's for sure. But at the end of the day, as long as we're getting prepared and getting better and getting ready for region play, that's kind of the goal with this schedule.
Of course, we talked off camera, but talk about the, kind of sort of how the season starts. You start off with Bledsoe County, but of course those rivalries come up. Talk a little bit about those games and how important are they?
Yeah, so we go to Pottsville the 21st, defending the Stomp. Last year we won 28-7 at our place. But playing them, if you've played in that game, it's a rock fight until the very end. The scoreboard might have said 28-7 last year, but I promise when we walk back in the locker room, that's not what it felt like. It felt like it was a war. It's always a war playing those guys. Coach Tabor does a really good job getting those guys ready to play. They always come out with a lot of energy, a lot of physicality, great execution. They're always a really, really tough opener. But definitely a fun game. It's going to be a tough environment over there at their place this year. Their fans always do a good job of that, and I'm excited. I think the whole team's excited, but we want to go in there and go 1-0, and that's the goal.
Well, of course, also you got to look ahead as you got Marion County, South Pittsburgh. Those games, I mean, I know you want to win every game, and every game is, hey, it's just the next one. But those type of games, Marion County, South Pittsburgh, they're special to the fans.
Right, yeah, those are 2 really historic programs that have won a lot of football games, and both coming off state championship appearances, and South Pittsburgh won it last year, and Jasper got runner-up, but they're both 2 really good teams with a lot of history, a lot of hardware, and we hope they make us better, and we think we got as good of a chance as anybody to beat them, and we expect to win. That's kind of how we're going to go about it.
Well, tell me this, going into the 2026 season, I mean, you've had a build-up for this. This is your final year. What are some of your personal goals, or what are some of the things you want to accomplish in 2026? Not just football, but what are some of the things you're really looking to accomplish this year?
That's a good question. So, as far as football goes, I'm not really going to be too picky or particular or anything statistics-wise, because at the end of the day, you can really only control how you prepare and how you play when you go out on Friday night as far as effort and physicality. So as long as I prepared as good as I can prepare and played as hard and as physically dominant as I could, I'm not going to be too upset each way it goes. Obviously, I'm going to want to prepare and get better and learn from it. But my goal really is to just prepare as good as I can by taking care of my body and watching film and practicing as good as I can. And then when Friday night comes, it's just like I've been doing it all week. Play as hard as I can, play as physical as I can, and the outcome will be the outcome. So that's kind of the goals football-wise.
Well, of course, in the 2026 season, I mean, I know you want to win a region championship, but, some of the guys around you, have you really felt like you've become a real leader on this football team?
Yeah, I feel like especially, last year I had to kind of step into a little bit of a leadership role a little bit. But this year especially, I felt like I've stepped up and become a try to be a good example in practice by the way I practice. I hope that's what I said at least. Try to be vocal at practice and bring a little bit of energy to it. Some days it's tough and you're tired and you don't feel like, giving 100%, but at the end of the day, if you want to win a region championship, nobody cares you're tired or you've been at school or the lift was tough or you're sore from yesterday's practice. You still got to practice hard and prepare the right way or it doesn't really, you're kind of wasting your time. So I try to, get the guys going at practice and stuff like that.
Well, Jack, of course, there's no secret. You've been highly recruited by a lot of folks. How do you deal with recruiting and to try to keep that from being a distraction? I mean, it has to be the focus sometimes, but how do you keep it from being a distraction?
Yeah, that's a good question. So, in the off season, it's a lot of recruiting just because it's the college's off season too, and it's their time to recruit kids, and they're kind of that's their time of year that it really most of it goes down. So in the off season, a lot of my focus is on recruiting, but it still has to be on football and becoming a better player in the weight room and stuff like that. But when season comes around and we get those pads on, and we start practicing, and it's football time, then my main focus is Sequatchie County football. You occasionally get a call or a text from a coach, and you do your business with them. But my focus is 100% when the season comes around on the task at hand.
Yeah, because there's a lot to deal with. Not just football, you've got school to deal with, and a lot of other things also. Not just the football recruiting. And of course, we kind of talked about this. Who are some of the teams? So for people that don't know, who have showed a great deal of interest in you? Not necessarily offers, but, schools has been reaching out to you for the most.
Yeah, so I've got recently, I would say the past couple months, most of my interest has come from service academies like Army and Navy, and then in several Ivy League schools like Columbia and Dartmouth and schools like that. So that's kind of been the recruiting talks I've had recently. But, you're still, trying to stay in talks with the schools that I've been offered from and trying to keep building a relationship with them to edge closer to a commitment.
Well, tell me how is this when you're being I know a lot of it has to be grades, but how does it get to where all the service academies and of course the Ivy League schools, how do they getting to recruit you? Is there something you reached out and did, or is it just something they see ACT scores or see your grades and they start reaching out to you? How does your name get out there for the service academies?
Yeah, that's a good question. So a lot of it's kind of like a domino effect, sort of. So if once you start getting attention so my first Ivy League offer was Dartmouth, and that was back March or April, and then I started getting a lot of talk from Columbia. Got a lot of conversation with them. And I went on a visit up there in June and got an offer, and you make it public. And then everything starts falling over. I got a call from a coach at Army who got me up on a visit. And then once that interest becomes public, it all kind of just starts, in a big loop. So it's a lot of, the work that you put in and getting the grades and putting it on tape, but it's a lot of luck too. So that has a lot to do with it as well.
Well, talking about Army, tell me this: when you went on your visit, what kind of sold you on that? What was great about visiting Army? Yeah,
so it's truly one of one as far as the uniqueness and the prestigiousness that it brings and the name that West Point carries, and it's just kind of a once in a lifetime experience that it's very, very hard to pass up for a lot of people. So I just feel like that's I've always kind of wanted to serve our country even before I started playing football. So that also gives me the opportunity to do that and get a degree that can't really be matched. So
Yeah, that sounds good. I mean, because I would just like to go visit that myself. I know we went out in Colorado and we started to go on base at the Air Force Academy, but you have to get security clearance, and so we didn't end up doing that. But I'd love to have went on campus and been able to see that. Well, before I turn you back over to Randy, I want to ask you about one question. This year, who are some of the guys, and some of the guys that might be watching this, who are some of the guys on your football team this year you think are going to be big factors going into the 2026 season, and who are some of the guys that y'all are going to count on heavily?
Well, he has been for the past 3 years. Casey Nix is, in my opinion, the best guy I've ever put on pads with, best guy I've ever had to go against in practice. He makes me better just practicing against him. You practice against him on Monday through Thursday, and then you're playing against guys on Friday. You're like, dang, this guy's like, and this was like a JV kid compared to Casey. And he's such a good player and captain, and he's been doing it for 3 years now. In my opinion, the best linebacker in the state. I don't even think it's really close either. He's impacts the game in so many ways: offense, defense, special teams. He's really just got a nose for the football that I've never really seen, and his work ethic is pretty elite. And then, of course, returning quarterback Hunter Mitten, he's a stud in the run game, pass game, defense. Like, he's kind of a do-it-all guy who had a really big year last year, and he's had a really big offseason, put on a little weight, but he won't admit that. But he looks good. He's slinging it around. He's moving around really well. He looks pretty good. So of course, those two guys, and then we're bringing back a lot of seniors. So I think everybody in our senior class is going to contribute. So those two guys, though, definitely are guys we're counting on big time.
Randy
disappeared, so I'll take over.
Yeah, go ahead.
Jack, I guess you saw today where Army re-signed their head coach to a 5-year extension. Thinking of coaches and all that stuff, is that a big key as far as knowing that the coach is going to be there for a while?
That's actually a really good question. So I try to think of it as like when I'm like trying to pick a school or like how I fit there. I try to see it as like, would I go here if I wasn't going to play football here, or this head coach wasn't here? So I kind of try to put that factor out of it, so you kind of lose the attachment of it and really get into like how you would fit there and stuff like that. So yes, Coach Monken's a great coach, and I would love to play for him, but I try to keep as much of that out of it, if that makes sense.
Yeah, absolutely. Randy, do you have something to say?
Yeah, I actually got my camera working for a minute. So for some reason, my phone decided to reset in the middle of this conversation. Leading back to what Phil said, you talked about Hunter, you talked about Kaysen. The wealth of talent, and of course, you have two players at VMI right now, and Luke Finch and Harrison Smith from last year's team. The amount of talent that has walked through Sequatchie the last couple of years, and this group was together from your 7th grade year, so it's been together a while. It's kind of a rare group, Jack, that you've had so many college level players at Sequatchie the last 4 years.
Yeah, it's definitely special. It's definitely special. We've had a special group of kids. But when you look at it, the work's pretty consistent. It's been consistent for the past 5 or 6 years. It's definitely the hardest working group I've ever been around, and that started kind of with the guys ahead of us, guys like Jackson Tate and my brother. When we were in middle school, when we were in the off season, they kind of started an off season program called the Weekend Workouts, and we would start in January 1st on New Year's Day. That's always our first workout, and we would do field work and run and stuff like that, and we would do that the whole off season until fall camp would roll around, and those guys set a really, really good standard that we got to follow and kind of reap the benefits of. And it's been a good really past couple of years, and the guys we've sent to college, and Austin Griffith also playing at Sewanee.
Yeah.
So those are 3 guys that we sent to the college level, and hope to send a couple more this year. But it's really all been in the work, and we're blessed and fortunate to have gotten these opportunities to go play, and it's definitely a rare group, and I'm blessed to be a part of it.
How good's Kaysen?
He's the best guy that puts on pads every Friday night across the state, in my opinion. And I know that might be crazy because we got some really good players in the state, but you find me a guy who impacts their team more than he does, and I'll probably tell you you're a liar.
Some college coach is going to miss a diamond in the rough because all he sees 5'11". He is maybe one of the 10 best high school players I've ever seen, if that makes sense. I mean, you're talking about NFL type players. Kaysen has been that good through his career. Howie, I'll come to you after this question. Jack, I have to admit this. As I've had a lot of spotters in my years, you may be the best and worst spotter I've ever had. I used Jack in the booth one night when you were coming back from a knee injury. You missed your whole freshman year. It was killing you, to put it light, just not playing.
Yeah, it was tough.
And I thought one night, I told Joey, Jack's dad, I said, I'm gonna let Jack spot for me tonight. Now, it was 4 quarters, guys, of continuous motion. But one of the things that caught me, Jack, and I'm not talking about the Sequatchie team, I kind of got in the grips where I could read the offense a little bit. You were watching the other team's offense, and you were calling pass, play, run, sprint. You knew 90% of their plays before they run them. What is that? A football sense, or is that something you got from working?
That year, since I was out, I really couldn't lift or run or practice. So I kind of just grinded in the tape, just watched hours of film, film study, and just got obsessed with football and schemes, and that's kind of that was kind of really all I could do to get better. So that's what I had to do.
Hey, I just feel, I remember, and you've done a lot of football. I remember after the game, if I could have had Jacks with me my whole career, I might have been at some college by now. Because it's easy to say, look at that hole when you hear 5 seconds earlier, sprint draw. So,
well, while you're talking about this, Jack, would coaching football might be in the future when your football career ends?
Absolutely. I've always thought I could do that and would be interested in that. So now I kind of got my foot in the door a little bit with my brother. He's a student coach at Tennessee Tech. He helps coach the linebackers, so that's pretty cool. And I guess I'll have a contact if I ever want to get into it.
Howie, why don't you ask this young man some questions?
Jack, let's go back to some of the recruiting and stuff like that. I met you and your dad last year at Georgia Tech, and all the places you go to and everything. How do they receive recruits that come in?
Can you ask that one more time, please?
Like, what do they do special for the recruits that come in when you go for visitation and everything? Like you went for Army and you've gone to Georgia Tech on their spring game, something like that. How does each one compare to another?
He might have been to Florida, but we ain't going to talk about that because I was afraid I was going to get mad at him. Go ahead.
Yeah, so usually it depends on like if you're there for a practice or a game day visit or spring practice or a junior day. But the generic answer, I'll say, like a couple days before you're in contact with the coach, and then you usually get put in contact to like a recruiting department, somebody who works in the recruiting department, and you get a text of where to be, like that kind of stuff, and you meet at this location, and you show up and you check in, and you get your credentials usually at a table, and that's usually an indoor facility if they have one, but some colleges have one, some don't. It's kind of like how big the visit is. Sometimes it's a small visit and you're one-on-one and you don't really do all the red carpet stuff, and you kind of just get down to business and go meet with the coach. But most of the time, you you get a text and usually check in at the indoor or the weight room and get hot weight and kind of get started.
Speaking of measurements and all that, what are your measurements right now?
About 6'4", 6'4.5". I'll go anywhere from 215 to 220, depending on the week and how much I'm sweating.
Howie, I thought you were talking to me. I didn't know how I was going to explain I was 341, but go ahead.
Yeah, well, Jack, let's ask. I want to ask you this: as far as when you was helping Randy, you was calling the plays from kind of like the defensive perspective and all that. Which side of the ball would you rather play, offense or defense?
I mean, I didn't get recruited to play tight end, but that's probably because I'm just not good enough to play linebacker or DN in college. But man, defense is fun. You kind of just get to peel your ears back and turn it loose and go dent somebody's face mask. That's a lot of fun to kind of just play free like that. Of course, you do the same thing on offense, but you're thinking more like position and technique and footwork and hand placement. But there's good and bad to both. But I do love just getting to turn it loose on defense. Just go play ball. Just go have fun and play ball.
Hey, Howie, if you'd have been there tonight, you caught the touchdown pass from Sam. You would have said tight end because I think that was the happiest two football players I've ever seen, brother to brother touchdown pass. So
if a school comes up and said, "Hey, Jack, we see something on you on the defensive side we really like, and we're after you on the defensive side," could that possibly change your mind as far as where you go?
Yeah, it could. I'm honestly kind of like, it's not really happened, but I definitely take it into account and kind of just, I like to think of myself as a football player. So if I feel like I'm getting recruited to play football and if I can, help a team in any way possible. I mean, a long snap, if the team was like, "Hey, we want you to come long snap," or I get there and they're like, move me from tight end to long snap, I'm like, "All right, let's do it. Let's play football." That's kind of how I think about it.
Long snappers in the NFL make pretty good money and only play about 5 plays a game.
Yeah, it's a good job. It's tough. It's tougher than you think it'd be, though. I promise. I used to think it wasn't that hard, and then you get up there to snap the punt, and you're on the 2-yard line. You're like, "Oh crap! Just my hands are wet. Let's not snap it over his head and get a safety." But there's some nerves to it.
All right, Jack. Here we go. Some regular questions. You got any game day ritual superstitions you got to do?
Yeah. So every Friday morning, I go to cryotherapy in Chattanooga, and get a good freeze in my body, get everything kind of the soreness out of me, get healed up, and head back over to school about 9:30. I usually go with a couple of my buddies to cryo and usually my dad. Then we head back to school and try to get a good lunch in you, and then get to the field house and I get an air mattress out and I take a nap. So it's game time. I get ready, I get taped, listen to my music, get out there and go play. But mostly I got to get my cryo in the morning and I got to get a nap. That's it. That's the 2 must-dos before every game. I don't really have anything other than that.
He failed to say during home games he's got to eat about a pound of 2 of Anthony and Teresa's too. Free plug.
Yeah, we eat good pregame. Our quarterback club feeds us really good.
Hey, that's the worst thing I miss about leaving Squatch County. I can't go eat with the team.
You mentioned the music. What type of music you listen to?
I like John Mayer a lot and Sublime. I like those 2 bands, and then a lot of Creedence Clearwater Revival. So those 3 are kind of my main listen to.
Do you have something you have to listen to before the game?
Not really. I don't really have a specific song or anything. I just kind of like to try to keep my energy in my body, because if I get too excited, I'll get too fired up and get myself hurt before a game or something.
Last question. I'll let one of these other 2 guys answer or ask you something. Recruiting wise and everything, I know your teammates are supporting you and all that, but do they sometimes give you a hard time about some of the recruits that or offers that you may get from time to time?
Not really, not particularly. No, my friends and teammates are usually pretty supportive and usually congratulate me. So I don't think there's usually any of that going on. But yeah, they're usually pretty supportive.
That's cool.
Go ahead,
Phil.
I'll ask you one question. I want to know this. I know I'm sure game days, practice, whatever you've got going, sometimes you get to be a barrel of nerves. What do you do to kind of sort of get away from things, to kind of sort of wind down a little bit?
I've seen him eat.
Yeah.
Yeah, I like to play golf a lot. I love playing golf. I've started playing about a year ago, and I've really got into it. So, Saturdays I'm always too sore from the game to go play golf, but Sundays after church I'll try to at least maybe go fit 9 holes in or something. But that always relaxes me, and I get to be outside and with my friends, and that's always a good time. So I like to play golf, and that's really about my only hobby other than hanging out with my friends.
Well, tell me this: when you play golf, does it kind of sort of give you that? And I know it does for me when I go play golf. You kind of sort of forget about everything else. It's just you and the golf course, not many distractions, and really, I mean, it can be uptight, but really, it's something relaxing, and other than you can forget about life for a little while.
Absolutely, that's what I love so much about it. It's just you versus you, and you're just out there at your own pace, and there's so many different ways to play, and it's awesome. It's the best. It's my favorite thing to do.
Ready?
Do you beat your brother yet?
Oh yeah, absolutely. He like got me into the game how to play, and then like 5 or 6 months in, I'm like, I think I can beat this guy, and we started playing and keeping track, and I won't lie, he's got me a couple times, but we keep tallies, and there's definitely a lot more tally marks under my name than his name. So
Wasn't a threesome for a long time? You, your brother, and was it Luke Fitch?
Yeah, me. Well, actually, we would usually play in a foursome. It'd be me, Luke Finch, Kaysen, and Sam. We played a lot of rounds of golf together. We've made a lot of memories on the golf course together.
Listen, and we're going to have Jeff Barger that calls Sequatchie County football here on the preview show in just a few minutes. Jax, this is me saying it. This is Randall Cunningham, not Jack Evitts, okay? Recruiting is still open. If somebody comes in late, there's still a possibility to get involved in the recruiting of Jack. I don't think you have a timeline to commit, and you're still willing to listen to new offers right now. Correct?
Absolutely. You hit the nail on the head right there.
So I know this young man. I know his family. If you're a football coach watching this show, don't miss a diamond in the rough. Jack's a great kid, and I'm sorry I called you kid. You're a young man now. I keep wanting to see that 8th grader, but you're not that no more. And
Randy, he's 6'4" and 218. He could take you anytime he wanted to.
Look, he could take me in the 8th grade. So, hey, well, how big were you in the 8th grade? 6'1", so?
Yeah, 6'1", 180, 185 maybe.
Yeah, hey, Jack, if this ever happens, Jack, all you got to do is get a sandwich and throw it up in the air, and it'll totally distract him, and you got it.
Oh, yeah, he knows that. He knows that. Jack, if we were sitting across the table with a recruiter, what would be the one thing you'd want them to know about you right now off the top? They've seen the film. What does Jack Evitts want to say to a recruiting coach?
I'll help in any way that y'all need me to help. I'll play whatever position. I'll do whatever I'm asked to do the best I can do it. It may not be better than somebody else, but I promise I'm going to do as best as I can, as hard as I can go. And if that's not good enough, then that's not good enough, but I'm going to give you my best every time.
You know, guys, that's someone that's not scraping the bottom of the barrel, but he's willing to do anything. Jax and his family are great people, and has Sam opened up a little quarterback training thing along with coaching? I saw on Facebook.
Yeah, so he's a student coach at Tennessee Tech right now. He helps coach the linebackers, but I think really anything on defense. He was with secondary, but now he's with linebackers, so that's cool. But he did try to get something up and going, but I think he really got busy with football, and it never really took off. So that he's working, 8 days a week now that fall camp started, so he's been pretty busy.
And Jack's mom's a teacher, so no worry about grades in your house, are they?
No, we've always done our schoolwork. Even when we were out for COVID, we'd still have to do schoolwork. The only people in the world I think who did schoolwork.
Yeah.
Jack, I
Amazing.
appreciate you making time for us, man. First of all, I respect your family and your brother and you, and your younger sister is now in what, that 7th, 8th grade?
5th grade. She started 5th grade this year. Yeah, she
I thought
does.
it would be a little bit older than that. I'm sorry.
Yeah, she does dance and she plays a little bit of basketball, and she's a good athlete, but not as good as she's better than Sam, just not better than me.
Well, I've always told your dad she was going to be the best athlete, but we'll see.
Hey, well, Jack, I want to ask you this, something that I've been wanting to back up to asking and talking about you being 6'4" and 215. Do folks that recruit you feel like they can put weight on your frame?
Yeah, absolutely. So it was actually a little heavier. I was in that 230-ish range, 235. And this offseason, I didn't try to lose weight. I tried to lean out, and some of that fat came off me, but losing that weight, so I was 230, 235, benching about my body weight, so about 235. And I've dropped down to 215, and now I'm benching about 275, 280. So losing some of that fat, put on more muscle, leaned out. I'm moving. I feel like I'm moving around a little bit better. So that's. I heard from a lot of coaches, not that I needed to lose weight, but that I could come in at 210 or 215, and they'll put the right weight on me. I just need to be at the weight where I feel like I'm moving around the best and I can play the best football at. So I feel like I'm at a really good weight right now, and I'm trying to kind of maintain it.
Hey, Phil,
Well,
it would not shock me to see him in the
playing. If you're playing at tight end, is there an opportunity possibly where you would split out maybe into a slot or something?
Yeah, so we've actually we've been doing a lot of that. We've kind of just one play I'll be split out in the slot or split out wide, and the next play I'll come in and put my hand on the ground and kind of be a wing back in the backfield and block that way. But yeah, I've been fortunate enough to have a really good offensive coordinator who tries to use me in whatever way he thinks best for the team. And
yeah, so he takes advantage of your versatility, basically.
Yeah, he puts me in a lot of different places.
Hey, Phil, it wouldn't shock me just projecting out to see Jack's at 240 in college. So he's got that frame that he could. Hey, I've always said if Jack didn't make it as a tight end or Jack didn't want to be a tight end, you could see him at 280 pounds and he wouldn't look big. So he's got a frame for you for sure. What's the heaviest you ever been, Jack?
Probably 235. It's probably the highest I ever got, about 235. I really got much bigger than that.
I wish I'd been that. All right, Jack, say good nights to anything you want to say, shout outs, anything else.
I'm good. Thank you guys for having me on. I really, really enjoyed it.
Jack, we always appreciate it. And the battle for the stump, week 1, Blitz all camp. Don't lose that one. I hate that. Never mind. We're going that one is personal. I'm still an Indian at heart. So.
Yeah, that's for sure. Actually, before I go, I'll shout out my grandparents. I know they're watching. My Gigi and Papa. Love you guys. Appreciate you guys.
That's awesome. All you got to do is click off and you're out of the feed. So appreciate your time, Jack.
Yeah, I wish you the best. I wish you the best,
Thank you, guys.
Good luck, Jack.
Thank you very much, Jack.
Thanks.
Jack, I don't know why I call him Jax. I always have. Jack. So, great young man. Plenty of potential. I don't think his best football has been played yet. I think there's room to get better down the road. And hey, he may not admit it. He could also go 280 and probably put his hand in the dirt and be a pretty perfected player. So
I saw the young man this past it was last year at Georgia Tech, and he is a very big individual.
Yes. Large young man.
Yes.
Hey, Phil, we got Jeff Barger in the executive green room. We're going to come on in just a second. But before he does, I wanted to ask you about something. This weekend, you've got South Pittsburgh coming down to Valley Head. What do you, how do you feel about that? That's a great test for Valley Head?
Well, I think it's kind of more toward Charles Robert Hammond's always, he likes to play good competition in whether it be a spring game or whether it be the fall jamboree. This year they chose to play the fall jamboree, but he's played Chattanooga Christian, Gordon Lee, Fife, Coosa Christian. He always picks somebody really good, but the thing is, in Valley Head you don't have a whole lot of businesses, so sometimes you need a good gate. And the good thing about playing South Pittsburgh is people's gonna travel, and the people around here, I want to go see them just because it's South Pittsburgh. So it's going to draw a great crowd, a lot of interest. We don't have a lot of times where our teams here in North Alabama plays into Tennessee. So anytime that opportunity comes, it's kind of neat. I know I enjoyed watching them play Gordon Lee. So it'll be a lot of fun, and you'll get to see. And from what I understand, a guy told me, you're not going to see South Pittsburgh out physical anybody. They're just going to speed you to death.
Absolutely. You're talking about Dayon Cooper, Tennessee commit, sub 4.5, 6'1". He's a D-back and a receiver that I think Tennessee's going to flip to the other side of the football and make him a full-time receiver. But there's several kids on that team that's going to play lower major FBS football, D1 football. I think it's a great test that Charles Hammond would bring them down. And I also think it's great for the South Pittsburgh kids. Go see something that they've never seen. If you visit beautiful, I'm telling you, it may not be a lot of businesses, but Valley Head is one of the most beautiful places on earth.
Yeah, great backdrop, great mountain. And too, South Pittsburgh, a lot of times they can't get people to play them. So it's going to, and it's not that far of a trip for them. So
no.
It'll be a lot of fun for them to come down here, and I think they'll enjoy the trip.
Howie, on the Coach Brad Waldrop show, you were talking about, I heard you and Coach talking about him playing the next couple of weeks. What's on board for Coach Brad and the Civilian Rams over the next 2 weeks?
Tomorrow night they got Ider in a jamboree game, which I think is going to be maybe he didn't really specify because they don't really know. It's going to be up to him and Coach Clements. And that's what happens with the jamborees around here is the coaches will get together before the game and decide, hey, let's play our varsity for a half and then let's start subbing in the second half. So I think that's kind of what's going to happen tomorrow night. But they kicked the season off a week from tomorrow night against Collinsville at home, against a very well-coached Ernie Willingham football team. And so it's going to be interesting to see what the Rams can do this year. Coach Waldrop he's enthused about his line because most coaches will say, if I got a line coming back, I've got a good shot.
Yes. And of course, he'll be here most Tuesday nights, be Coach Waldrop. He said he might have to play with the time a little bit, but it's tentatively set at 6 o'clock, correct?
Yes, sir.
Phil, before we go on and bring Jeff on, I wanted to ask your opinion. We saw Baylor down playing defending national champions last week in Georgia. And you saw the debut of Marshall Manning. How much pressure to succeed does that young man have on him?
I don't know. I think, he's probably dealt with all that because his dad's probably groomed him for this. Just go play football. All the distractions are gone. The press and people will say there's a lot of pressure, but he's just a young man that's just going to go out and play football, especially when you walk, there might be some things off the field that kind of sort of get irritating to him. But once he goes on that field, it's him and his teammates, and it's about getting better. So I think people puts too much into that pressure thing. He can't be Peyton Manning. He has to be Marshall Manning. And he has to make a name for himself. He may not, he may end up being a better quarterback, but he may not fall into as good a situation. I mean, you just don't know how things are going to go. It's like at Texas with Manning there. The press makes such a big deal out of that, and he keeps getting better and better. And you get better by playing. but everybody expects him to be 25 for 25 for 400 yards and 8 touchdowns every game. And it's just not possible.
You brought it up. But go ahead, Howie.
I just want to chime in real quick. No, I don't think the pressure will be on him, but he can expect a ton of trash talk from the opposing team because of who he is.
Well, that and he plays at Baylor. There's no bigger. You're going to get. There is going to be a certain expectation with playing at Baylor. I think that he's probably going to hear that too. I'm going to ask both of you. What do you think, Arch Manning coming to Knoxville? How do you think his reception will be by the Tennessee fan?
It's going to be the same as always. A
Yeah,
visiting quarterback.
Yeah, just going to be another walk in the park, so to speak. Everybody's going to get on his case just like they will anybody else. So it ain't no different for Alabama, Florida, or Georgia. So it's just another game. It's just Texas has that big name, and everybody's gunning for him.
One name I want to bring up here in Tennessee tomorrow night. Of course, tonight you've got East Hamilton across the state line down at Ringo. But another thing I'll bring up tomorrow night, a big matchup. Former guest Jack Schmidt and Ray County is going to East Ridge. East Ridge is one of the schools that's kind of brought some new players in. It's definitely East Ridge is going to offer them a different kind of look, athlete-wise. I'll be there. Bill, what do you think? A tough scrimmage like this means 1 week before opening the season.
Well, I just think that's just what you call it, is a scrimmage. I mean, both teams are not going to show a whole lot. Probably not going to do a whole lot of stunning. It's just going to be man on man, and let a lot of the younger kids play. It's just kind of a window dressing. It's hard to really tell on a game like this. I mean, that's like Fort Payne and Plainview's playing tonight. Going to be a huge crowd. But neither team is going to show their hand. I don't know if Plainview's quarterback's even going to play. He's been hurt all summer, hadn't practiced much. So, it's kind of hard to tell, week one. We'll find out when the true lights come on. But I think you just deal with what it is. It's a scrimmage, basically.
And next week, we've got a special guest for 30 minutes. But we'll be talking about games next week. That's where we'll spend most of this hour and a half, Bill. We'll be maybe 30 minutes with a guest, but for an hour, we'll be talking about games in Tennessee, games in Georgia. I think we're one more week from really getting Alabama along.
Well, and actually, it does start next week in Alabama.
It's a limited schedule, right?
No. There's a whole lot of teams that play week 0.
Okay.
Yeah, there's a lot that don't, but there's a whole lot that does. I mean, it's not. I wouldn't call it limited. It's just not a full scale.
And Howie, before I bring in our other guest, Jeff Barger, to talk Valley football, specifically Sequatchie County Indian football, my replacement in the booth for Indians a few years ago. You've got a special thing going on in your home right now that we don't talk about often. Your daughter, a member of the band, has got a senior too, who loves the band. He's really got some special duties this year with the band.
Yeah, she's going to be the drum major this year, so she's excited about that. She didn't care much about it during band count because the drum major is kind of like the quarterback. So during those counts, the quarterback don't do a whole lot, and so she kind of got bored during the band count while the other kids was having to learn how to march and all that. So, but now she's looking forward to it. She got her uniform last week. Last week she had to order one, and she wanted what she wanted and got it in. So she's looking forward to that, and won't actually debut at Patrick Roselle, band director of Sylvania, has a philosophy where he don't make the band dress out for the first couple of weeks because it's too stinking hot in that nylon uniform to wear. And so they just wear shorts and T-shirts, khaki shorts, T-shirts for the first couple weeks.
Hey, y'all, we got a special guest watching us. The Ider Insider, Tyler Dalton. I'm sure he's excited to get the season started.
Oh, absolutely. I'm sure he'll be at Sylvania tomorrow night for the Jamboree game.
Guys, let me bring on our last guest. Tonight is kind of a Sequatchie County Indians night. It's something that's near and dear from my heart. I spent 12 years over there. But we're also going to talk a little Valley football. Blitzall County to South Pittsburgh to Marion. You know, there's nothing more, to me, better football than Valley football. And it's very close to Sand Mountain football. I think those two areas share a philosophy in football. Jeff is a former Blitzall County Warrior, now voice of the Indian football, a former UTC Mock. And hey Jeff, do you remember when I used to make fun of you walking back from practice? You know.
Yeah, I remembered some guy on the balcony yelling at us as we was walking back from the practice field. Was that you?
We take cold drinks and hold them out to the balcony so the football team could see them.
Yeah, there was some kind of cold drink. I don't think it was Coca-Cola, but there was some kind of cold drink.
It was definitely a cold drink.
It was definitely a cold drink for sure.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, from the Sequatchie County Football Network. Matter of fact, it's the Valley Football Network. That group of radio stations carry, Jeff, if I get one wrong, you tell me, Marion, Whitwell, and South Pittsburgh, correct?
Yep. And Sequatchie County, Marion County, Whitwell, and South Pittsburgh.
Jeff, before I turn you over to these guys, thank you for being on. For the folks who don't know, me and Jeff spent many, many years working together and plus broadcasting games. One of my best friends in the world. Before I turn you over to them, one question, Jeff.
Yeah.
How do you describe Valley football?
Physical, old-timey football. I mean, that's the best way I can describe it. It's kind of it's evolved a little bit over the years, but and the attitude, you know, this the teams you just mentioned, they're all small towns, all up and down the valley, and for years and years, of course, they're getting more opportunities now, but for years and years, all these old country boys had nothing better to do but to throw the pads on and go hit somebody on Friday night. And that's kind of the way I would describe it. Just it's more of an old school smash mouth type of football.
But I think that's very accurate.
But I want to correct you, Randall, on one thing. And I heard you earlier saying that I replaced you. There is no replacement for QB1 now. There is no replacement for that. I'm doing the radio now, but I didn't replace the legendary Randall Cunningham.
Hey, just to let people over in Sequatchie know, Randall Cunningham is the backup for Indian football this year. If y'all have a situation that somebody can't make a game, I told Glenn I'd slip over and work with you for a night. And
all right,
you know, I hope they have to miss a game because I'd enjoy that. So I'm coming anyway. I know the game I want to see, but it's going to be getting there for the chance.
All right,
Phil Harris. Once you start the question, you know a little bit about Valley football. Talk to Jeff, and we'll go from there.
Well, I do. I want to ask you about this. Now, I'm an old broadcaster. I sat in your seat for many a moons. I sit in a studio now. I like that because it's a controlled environment. But tell me, leading up to a football game, kind of what is your ritual? How early do you get to the game? How is your ritual leading up to the kickoff?
Well, a lot of times, of course, I have a job, so I work for a living, but it's usually, get off work. The last few years is, especially if it's a home game or a close by game, get get a meal in with my wife, and then after that, I take her home, and then I'll go on to the stadium and try to start collecting my thoughts and kind of, looking at the rosters and understanding what the game's going to be about, and trying to do a little bit of work before the game on, if this happens, this is what I talk about and stuff like that. So, but the main ritual is there's always try to take, I don't know, 10, 15 minutes or so where I might just sit in my truck or not really say a whole lot, just kind of take it in and get mentally. And we talk. I was watching you guys talk to Jack earlier, and like his rituals and the same thing that I'm a long ways from playing football, right? But that same competitive juice or attitude still rings true, and you don't get too excited when you're calling on the radio or anything like that. And I do call Squatchy football, and I have got excited. Randall can attest. I yelled touchdown while he was still calling at the 5-yard line one time, but
every time, yeah. Hey, I drove him crazy, Phil. I'm going to tell you. Phil used to be my broadcast partner. I think I've done games with every one of you, and I've drove every one of you crazy because I will show up 5 minutes before game kicks off.
Yep.
Well, Jeff, of course, naturally you want everybody to know you're for Sequatchie County. You have to do that. That's part of your job. But you also kind of try to concentrating on giving the other team credit when credit's due.
Yes. Yeah, that's what I try to do is, keep it as even keel as I can. But there'll be some Sequatchie County come out in me, and I think it comes from. I was talking to somebody the other day, right, and me and Randall's talked about this before. I've been doing it long enough now. Randall and I actually did some of the middle school games. Jack was in middle school. Right. We did their championship game. So I've watched these kids grow up, and that's, to me, that's the beauty of high school sports and even college sports, but really high school sports is, and being able to do this is you watch these kids mature and grow as they go through their career.
Well, do you find yourself, of course, naturally you memorize numbers. That's how kind of sort of you learn, because you did that with the other team. But do you find yourself when you're calling Sequatchie County that you will recognize a kid, maybe the way he walks or the way he handles himself? You can pick it out. He wouldn't even have to have a number on his jersey. Right.
I can say it with confidence right now. With Sequatchie County, with Hunter Minton and Kason Hicks and Jack, I don't really need to even see their numbers. I can pick them out when they walk on the field.
Yeah, hey, I understand that. But tell me, do you set up the equipment before you get to the game? Do you have to set it up?
Yeah, most of the time I do, and I'm still learning that.
Yeah. Well, the biggest thing for me, I was always so stressed out, and like you, I was working all the time. Get there. Got to get the equipment set up. Make sure we don't have any problems. Sound check, and then all of a sudden you get everything together, and you sit back and you just kind of take a deep breath and say, "It's time to enjoy this." Yep.
Yeah, and that's kind of what I do. I just once everything's set up and going, and that's why I like to get there a little bit early. And get it set up, right? Because back in the day, it was get there early and get it set up, and then wait for Randall to roll in 5 minutes before the game. But
guilty.
Yeah. Yeah, you're wondering if he's going to be there or not.
Oh, I would make him sweat
Start-
so bad.
Start watching the watch.
Yeah, start watching them. Start texting him.
I usually got a text about halfway over the mountain.
Yeah.
Well,
Hey, buddy.
I'm going to ask you one more, and then I'll turn you over to let Howie ask a few questions. We talked to Jack some, the expectations this season. You know this team as well as anybody.
Mm-hmm.
What do you think are the strengths of this football team, and what do you need to see for them to be successful?
Well, I think the biggest strengths, offensively, I think they're going to be okay. They've got some really good strengths coming back, and Jack mentioned them in Kaysen and in Minton, but they've got a couple of really good wide receivers that's coming back in Brown and his name escapes me right now, but they've got some really good core people coming back. What I need to see from them, and I've heard good things about that they're coming along, is where they lost some from last year is in the interior line. They had some really young guys playing in the line last year, but it's a mix. They lost some senior leadership there on the offensive line and on the defensive line, which I think they've got some kids that's very capable, but it's one of those things. You got to step up and prove it, right? So I think if they get the line play that I believe they're capable of getting, this team could be really special. Because on the athletic side of it, on the skill set side of it, they've got some really good skill kids coming back. And in the defensive secondary and at linebacker and everything like that, I think the biggest question mark for Sequatchie is can some of those young guys that got a little taste of it last year take over the reins and be the leaders, because they had some pretty good senior leadership in the line that's moved on. A couple of them's at VMI and other places, but I think that's the big question for me is Sequatchie County and their schedule, guys. And I know you guys touched on it, is brutal. Yeah. They've got a tough schedule. Talking about the Valley teams, I was looking it up the other day, like in the preseason polls. So South Pittsburgh's ranked number 1 in single A. Marion County's ranked, I think it was 5th or 6th in double A. Bledsoe County is in the top 15 in double A. And then in region, Sequatchie County is ranked 9th, I think it was, or 10th in triple A. Their big hurdle this year, which has always been in this region, is going to be Giles County, and Giles County is ranked 5th in 3A. But also Watertown and Forest both are ranked in the top 25 in 3A. So they also play Walker Valley, who's ranked in the top 15 in 5A. So they've got a lot of big games coming up this year.
And they definitely pick on the big boys.
Yep.
Let's add, I think Marion and Bledsoe both got to play Tyner.
Yeah.
Who is either 3, 4, or 5 in 2A right now.
Yeah, they are. Tyner was ranked, I think it was 2nd or 3rd.
Yeah, it's
pretty high. The last poll I saw.
Definitely.
Howie, you got a question or two?
Jeff, I know your favorite place to call a game is probably Sequatchie County because that's your home place, but is there anywhere other than that you enjoy calling games at?
There's a couple of stadiums that we visited that I do like. Giles County has a really, really nice, and Randall can attest it, has a really, really nice press box. So I enjoy going there, even though it is a very, very long drive.
Hey, you got to get out before the Bell Witch gets after you at night. That's all I'm going to say.
Yes, you do. But there's been, there's quite a few, nice stadiums in our region and everything. And because I'm from Bledsoe County, I don't mind. I kind of like going up there and calling a game. Even though one year didn't they make us call it from the stands, Randall?
Hey, there's a cow farm in behind Bledsoe County. And every time Jeff or I would say, the score is 14-7, you'd hear,
Hey, don't worry. One year we played Sandrock over at Sandrock, and we petted the cows at halftime.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's all right till they started going to the bathroom. Then it got a little funky up there.
Hey, Randall, we don't get to ask you many questions because this is probably your expertise. So who has the best concession stand on the road?
Phil, you stole it from me. I was fixing to say the same thing.
Let me go ahead and comment.
Yeah.
Sequatchie County for the home team, top 3 in concession stand I ever been to. Always got the burgers, barbecuing outside with the hot dogs, and I've always had a place in my heart for Giles County too, Jeff. They got pretty good food.
They've got pretty good food.
We went to Meigs County one night and they were serving pinto beans and cornbread. That's always stayed with me too. So
yeah, we went to was it White County?
Yeah,
and they served us Chick-fil-A.
Yes.
Yeah.
Up at Rockwood, we went into a buffet during the playoffs.
Yeah, we did. But but for Randall, it's hard to say because I'm gonna let it leak out. Randall, his go-to food is a concession stand hot dog, and I don't know how many hot dogs I've seen Randall eat in between calling plays, but he can suck down a hot dog.
Yeah.
All he's got.
Hey, that's his go-to. That's his go-to at Neyland too. So there's no big secrets there.
like me a smoky dog.
And he's got to have that ketchup and mustard on there too.
You know it. You got to get that relish pack if you can. That's in high demand around the football stadium.
Yeah.
Jeff, you've been calling the game for quite a few years and everything. Is there a game that's going to stick in your mind forever?
Well, there's a couple of games that will stick to me, and I was so nervous the first time. Randall may have to help me remember the exact game, but the first game when I joke with people and tell them that Randall suckered me into doing this radio stuff. That first game, and I believe it was Randall. Was it? It wasn't the Bledsoe Sequatchie game, was it?
When Tristan Boring missed the kick at the very end of it.
Yes, it was. It was.
Yeah,
that's what I thought.
That's in my top 2. There's a Sylvania game that me and Phil called with Colbert County, and then that game is probably number 2 behind the Colbert County Sylvania game.
I can remember at that time I was working with Randall and him talking me into doing this, and I'm thinking, what in the world have I got myself into, and how am I going to do this? Because I had never done anything like radio or anything like that, right? And I just remember being really nervous, and then Randall coaching me on the side. Now here's what you do. Now when they break the huddle, you stop talking. I was okay. But that game, and that was an exciting game because it was the missed field goal was the difference. And then a couple of years ago, the first game I done with my partner on radio, Nathan Barger, was the Marion County, Bledsoe County, or Marion County, Sequatchie County game. And what made that so exciting was at the last play of the football game, Sequatchie County kicked a field goal to win the ball game, and it was a thrilling. And the thing about it is, what set it up. You guys were talking about Case and Hicks. Sequatchie County had the ball about midfield with about a minute and something left to go, and it was 4th down and 3, and Kaysen carried 5 Marion County defenders for 5 yards to get the first down. I mean, the kid just would not go down. I thought they had hit him for a loss, and he just kept dragging defenders down the field to get the first down. And then that kind of built it up. That was an exciting play because that was 4th down. And then they moved the ball, got another first down, and was able to kick the winning field goal. But that game sticks out in my head.
Hey, if you listen to the Hickson East Hamilton game, that game, you might hear Jeff on the radio below me because I had it turned up a little more than I thought I did, and you can hear Jeff calling Kaysen's move. So I had Jeff on air with me still, and I was at a different football game.
That was a heck of a run by that young man.
Yeah.
Jeff, talking about this season, which games are you looking forward to doing this year with Sequatchie County?
Well, there's a couple of them. Of course, the first game of the season is Bledsoe, and that's Bledsoe and Sequatchie's always been a big rival. I had a coach one time describe it I think the best way, and they called it that's a gas pump game. That's like, because everybody goes to the gas station, and everybody's either going to be Bledsoe County or Sequatchie County, and they're going to talk about it, right? And I've been here. I've been on both sides of it because I played in Bledsoe County, and now I'm calling the games for Sequatchie County, and it's still funny. I've heard people on the street in Sequatchie County, because they've had some really good years these last several years, but they've had 1 or 2 losses to Bledsoe County, and then everybody will say, "Yeah, you guys made the playoffs, but you lost to Bledsoe County," or vice versa. So that's a big one, and really all the Valley games. The South Pittsburgh game I look forward to because there's going to be a lot of talent on the field there, and the Marion County game. And then probably Giles, which is the last game of the year. And Giles, just because that one for the last 3 years and probably this year will determine the region champion. So that's the 3 big games or 4 big games that I'm really looking forward to calling.
Randy?
I think we dropped Phil there for a minute. Maybe he'll rejoin us here. Jeff, I don't want to talk about the Valley for a minute.
Okay.
I do want to talk about Devin Barker, David Barker, and Chad Barker.
Okay.
Coaching.
I know a little bit about them.
Coaching runs in your family. Your brother David is. In fact, I saw David Friday night.
He told me he saw you. Yeah.
Yeah. David, defensive coordinator at Cleveland.
Yep.
Chad, head coach at East Ridge.
Yep.
And the newest member of the Barger coaching family, Devin at East Tennessee State.
Yep. Devin is definitely at East Tennessee State as a student coach.
And of course, your dad, the living legend of softball coaching.
Yeah.
So, what makes all your brothers good coaches?
I think number one is their competitiveness. Of course, I'm partial to them. Of course, growing up, I'm the oldest of the 3, and I always tell them I take credit for building their character, because I was 6 years older than David and about 9 years older than Chad, so I knocked them around quite a bit when they were growing up. But the competitiveness of both of them, and they hate to lose. I mean, that's I've seen them even as coaches. it's one thing when you're a player and get upset and everything, but I've seen them even as coaches. You usually I would know not to call them or rib them a little bit on Saturday if they lost on Friday night, because they're still brooding over that loss. So so it's one of those things where I think that translates, because they connect. Both of them connect really good with the kids. With Chad, and you can tell him I said this. He's with some of the shorter kids on the team. He's eye level with them. I mean, some of the bigger.
You know, I'm seeing Chad tomorrow night, right?
Oh yeah.
All right.
You can tell him I said that too. But no, that's I think that's one of the things that makes them pretty successful coaches, is them being able to connect with the kids and just the competitiveness that they have. And a lot of times you'll see it. And always, we used to always talk about it growing up, and my dad would even talk about it. You know, a lot of times teams, if they eventually take on the character or the personality sometimes of their coaches. And with those two coaching, if their teams took up their personality and characters, they you wouldn't. I'll be nice. You couldn't find a better ones to emulate.
You know, and I'm going to turn you over to Phil and Howie again and do one more round of questions. I will say about your brother Chad. He's probably my closest friend of the coaches here in Chattanooga.
Yeah.
He truly loves the kids at East Ridge, and he truly believes in East Ridge High School, and he tries to give those kids a leg up, not only in the football field, but in life too.
Yes.
If you got time, we're going to go let Phil and Howie have one more run at you. But if you tell about me eating hot dogs again, I might cut this thing off. Phil, go ahead.
Hey, well, tell me this, Jeff. Would it be a good thing to send Chad maybe a milk crate for football practice?
Yeah, that might be good. Send him a milk crate. Some of his taller players, he could get up there. He could step up there then.
Yeah, that's definitely so. Well, Jeff, I know doing football on Friday night, and of course, Randy got you into it. And I'm sure at some point you do I want to do this or do I not want to do this? Has it gotten in your blood in that you really and truly look forward to it?
It has. I'm very appreciative of QB1 dragging me into this, because it's something I didn't know if I could do or wanted to do, but I have really enjoyed it. I enjoyed my time whenever Randall and I was doing it, and I've enjoyed it the last couple of years when he moved on to Hickson. But it's been fun, and I'm not doing a self plug, but on our radio station on Saturday mornings we do a little sport talk show at one of the local restaurants here. And I've had a lot of fun doing that as well. So
I'll plug it, Jeff.
Plug
the restaurant.
It's Anthony and Teresa's Home Cooking. It's the bowling alley.
I've already plugged them with Jack, so plug them again.
Well, that led me into this next question. I mean, radio's fun, and you really enjoy that, and it's a special passion. But do you find that probably you enjoy more is the special relationships you build with coaches, parents, and the kids, because you figure out that what you do is worthwhile, in that these young people need leadership, and they need to be talked about. They need to be put on a stage, and that's what's most important.
It is, and it's and I'm not knocking, because I know that media and stuff can't be everywhere, but that's one of the things, and Randall talked about it whenever we would do it. The kids in this valley, they're not I mean, they're Chattanooga area, but you don't see Chattanooga media reaching out a whole lot. I mean, they do some special stuff and they'll do some things, but I think it's good to be able to promote these kids and help them along in their career. And and mamas like to hear their baby get called out on the radio for a good play or something like that. So it's I take joy in that, in being able to bring something, put some light on some of these kids that might not have gotten it otherwise.
Hey, Phil, before you go on, I'm going to pay you a compliment. Jeff, what was the one thing I told you about telling the score?
What, telling the score?
Yeah.
It was always scoring down and distance, wasn't it?
Yeah. Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah.
Every play. Or
There
every
you go.
play.
That's a Phil Harris. Can't tell the score too much.
You can't tell the score too much. Can't tell down and distance too much.
Yes, sir.
It kills me when I turn on the radio and listen to a game and you listen for 5 minutes and have no idea what the score is.
Yeah. Oh, hey, they'll score a touchdown and go to a commercial and not tell the score.
Oh, I know.
I get so mad. I get so mad.
Jeff didn't call the score out one night, and I texted him and I said, "What's the score?"
He did. I'm not going to lie. He did. He texted.
That's the one thing I know Randy asked real fast. I said, Randy, I said, down in distance and what yard line you're on. Always, and always tell the score. I said, learn those things, get in the habit of those, and then add everything else. And I said, once you get those down, everything else will fall into place. And you just keep it that basic for a while because, you know, not everybody that listens really knows the game of football. So you want to keep it basic as if so the people everybody's listening don't know the game.
Yeah, exactly. And Randall drilled that into my head, so I'm still using it today.
Jeff, got a quick question. Yeah.
Okay.
Do the young men that you call the games of, do they come up to you, you know, maybe after the game or after the season or something and say, "Hey, Jeff, we appreciate you what you do for us. We appreciate you the recognition you're giving us"?
Yeah, I've had quite a few of them come up to me and tell me that they appreciate that, and also have had a lot of you know, mamas and daddies and aunts and uncles and just people in general in the community. They really appreciate it. But yeah, there's been a lot of the kids that has come up and said they appreciate it.
I know it means a lot to the kids and it means a lot to the parents, and kind of like when Jack was on here telling his grandparents, you know, hello and all that. A lot of grandparents cannot get out to the games because of circumstances and all that. But you bringing them the games, that, you know, that means a lot to them. Yeah,
there was. I hope I don't destroy this, but we had a kid playing year before last. And he had a brother that was in the Army. Of course, in today's world, you got the wonderful internet and our radio station. They also put it online, right, so that you can listen. And we had his brother was listening to us in Germany while we did the game, and that was good. And that family was very appreciative of the broadcast because his brother, you know, in the Army, stationed in Germany, and was able to go online and listen to his little brother play football.
That's awesome. That's great.
Yep.
Randy?
Hey, I'm going to tell a Phil Harris story real fast. He's back. He's working on a light. Phil, you hear us?
Yeah. Go ahead.
Hey, Jeff. My first radio job was me and Phil and a guy named Leroy Stansel. This is probably back in 91, 92. And I had started because Phil was so much better than me back then. We immediately realized I had no talent and Phil had it all. So they gave me the sideline job. And my job was to listen real intently. And when Phil would say, Randall, what's it look like down on the field? It's a foot. Third down and a foot. I think Plainview's going for it.
Yeah.
One night, Phil throws it to me, and I'm in the bathroom. And I called third down and a half yard from the toilet, 200 yards away from the field. So I never did that to you, but I did do it to Phil.
So whenever we were doing the games together, Randall, is that why you always wanted to send me down to the field, because you didn't think I had any talent? Was that what you're saying?
No, I'm handicapped and I couldn't get down that hill. I was either going to stay in that booth or walk down that hill. I was probably going to stay in the booth. So,
Oh, I got you.
guys, let's just go around, and we're about to run out of time. Thank you, Jeff, for being here. We've got about 5 more minutes. And I tell people all the time, and I'm no longer calling live games. I made that decision this year. I'm working for one of the scouting services, and I've already got a kid on Rivals that's a kicker that I saw, and I'm very proud of that. But the time I spent announcing football, I can never. It was some of the best times of my life, and I can never tell people how much fun it is. If you look at my TikTok, that game you were talking about, Bledsoe and Squatchy are still up there, and you can hear me saying my boy's cracking, saying Tristan Boring for the touchdown.
Yeah.
What is being involved in high school sports as an adult and being able to go back and give a little bit to it meant to you?
You just won't go around the board. You want me to jump in?
I want you to go first, Jeff, and I definitely want to get Phil on this because he's on a call-in show that's got a huge audience, and Howie, of course, too.
Well, I think for me, it's just it's a way to stay connected to, one, a sport that I love, and two, it's been a lot more fun, I want to say, than I expected it to be, as far as from that first day when you were convincing me to try and go do this thing, and whether or not I had the knowledge or the ability to do it. But it's one of those things where, and I go back to it, being able to put these kids out there, and the smiles and the appreciation. I told the story about the kid from Germany, his brother getting to listen, but we also had a kicker one time, Martinez, who his grandparents were in Mexico, and they were able to log on and listen, and being able to give those families a couple hours, right, just to hear their grandson or their brother or whatever, the name being called out or whatever was, and I get more satisfaction out of that than anything.
Yeah, there was one night we got a family come up the next week and thank us that was stuck in the airport.
Yes,
and I always thought that was a neat story. So, Phil, you're on the largest scoreboard show in Alabama now. You cover the whole state. You've got a big audience and a lot of kids. What do you get from what have you gotten from your time in radio?
Well, I knew when I was about 9 what I wanted to do. I mean, and I guess in a sense, if you speak it and you live it and you want it bad enough, it will happen. The good Lord will find a way for you. But I think it's been more than that, in that God's going to put you where he wants you to be. And you're given the opportunity to influence, and he'll use your talents to influence and motivate others. And you hear that, you hear all the stories, and that makes it, I'll do it for nothing. I don't care that makes this worthwhile in that you motivate others and you hear special stories and things like that. I'm just an ordinary old Joe, but I'm a part of something special, and I enjoy that, and I enjoy giving back. But it's always nice to hear from others about how they enjoy our show and all the things that I have been able to do. I'm definitely blessed, way beyond what I deserve. But it's always fun to motivate these young people, because you put them on a pedestal for a little while because life's tough, and for a little while they get to be heroes, and they need to enjoy that time.
Yep.
Howie, and Howie actually has worked with John Seals on the air. That's all I'm going to say. Howie.
It's always great to be able to work with the kids, get to know the kids, and kind of like Phil's talking about, you don't know what type of home life those kids actually have. And so showing them somebody cares about them outside the home, it means a lot to them. And I enjoy it. I did one season with John, like you said, and I've worked with you and Randy and Phil back in the day with the station out on the mountain where, what was it y'all used to call it? A garden, a clothesline run across a pasture or something like that. You got to be within 5 miles of it to hear it or whatever,
Yeah.
But anyway, it's always been fun to get to know the kids, be able to work with kids, and I kept stats for several years at Sylvania, and getting to know those kids, and you just you get to know them and talk to them and realize that they enjoy you doing what you do for them.
Mhm.
And it means a lot, and plus you never know what's going to come out of those kids' mouths. They're fun to be around because you never know what they're going to say.
True. I tell people all the time, I've got to be a high school senior for 35 years because every year I felt like I was a senior on that football team. And I'm going to share a quick story. The first year, and I don't even know if Jeff remembers this. The first year Jeff was working with me, we had a receiver catch a football and was running down the field. And he's at the 30, the 35, the 25. And the whole time Jeff's hit me on the arm. And I thought, why is he bothering me right in the middle of this play? And I looked over to him and he mouthed to me, Jackson Tate has got the ball. And I'd called it some other player. Well, so the player got to the 5 and he latered it back to Jackson Tate. And Jackson scored the touchdown. And to this day, I'm not sure anybody knows that lateral occurred during the game, except for me on the radio call.
I do remember that.
Yeah, you beat me to death. Jeff, you got any shout outs you want to get? You got 2 beautiful daughters. One works at UTC. One is the 4-H extension agent now for Sequatchie County.
That's right. That's right. I got and I guess I can say it online. She may shoot me for saying it, but my oldest one, Hannah, who's an advisor at UTC and going on to get her master's, is engaged. She will be married. She will be married in March, so that's a good thing. And my youngest, yes, she is the Jaden. She is the 4-H extension agent for Sequatchie County. She graduated last year from Tennessee Tech. Both of them are graduates from Tennessee Tech, and now both of them are kind of working in the UT system, I guess, so to speak, because the UT extension office, 4-H extension agents, what Jaden does here in Sequatchie County. So
and Hannah is a former coworker of ours, yours and mine.
Yep.
She interned with us at Man Hummel, and the whole time she was interning, she was telling me why she didn't want to be an engineer and she wanted to be a psychologist.
Yeah. Yeah, and I think she tried to analyze you. That made her drive even more to be a psychologist.
Yeah. I told her one time she'd never run across a patient with all the problems that I had, so that made it even better.
Yep.
Appreciate you being on here, Jeff. Come back and join us during the season sometime. Maybe we'll get on
No, and
that
I
Childs
enjoyed it.
County week and talk about it because that's going to be a big one.
That is going to be a big one. So yeah, I enjoyed it. It's good to see you again, and we need to stay in touch. And yeah, just invite me back anytime.
We need to go to lunch one Friday. I get off work at 11 o'clock.
Yeah, we can do
I'll
that.
give you a call.
All right.
For Jeff Barger, for Phil Harris, for Howie Cheney, this is the River City Media preview show. I'm going to have to change the name. Preview show. Good night and God bless.
God bless you.
And we are.